Authority. This is the one thing we have fought over since the very beginning. We have fought with tanks, bombs, guns, with words, agreements, and contracts. Even sticks, rock, and bone. It was always the singular thing, authority. Of course, we would wrap it up in nice, fancy clothes, like patriotism, economy, even religious fervor, and peace. For some reason, peace is always the excuse for violence. I get it, though. We all crave that sense of community. Who wouldn't? A world where safety and trust exist among neighbors is a beautiful idea. The problem arises when we force others to live a certain way or believe certain things. In doing so, we all become bystanders and sometimes accomplices to a world we don't fully agree with. Do you want to rule the world and control it? I don't think it can ever be done. This isn't a statement meant for the dreamers, the freedom fighters, those who want to make the world a better place. It's for the rigid and unyielding, the ones who cling to the illusion of control and fight to keep things stagnant. They look around and see the imbalance, but rather than adapt, they resist. Yet, deep down, everyone knows that the soft and yielding will always overcome the stiff and rigid. It's the way of nature, of life itself. But fear guides their hands. It shapes policy, influences behavior, and drives administration. Fear of change, fear of losing power, fear of the unknown. Do you want to rule the world and control it? I don't think it can ever be done. But change is constant. Change is inevitable. Coercion, bullying, fear, violence. These are the tools used to uphold and maintain authority. We often believe the issues lie with who wields that authority. But what if the problem is authority itself? Allowing anyone to wield centralized power inherently creates imbalance. For those protected within its confines, centralized authority may feel like a safeguard worth defending. But for the other, it becomes a force to fear. After all, one person's fascist authority is another's democratic authority. And yet, like most things, it's never that simple. Most systems are blends, just as people are blends of everything else. The very idea of an authoritative group pits us against ourselves, fracturing the unity we so desperately seek. We have trapped ourselves in a cultural catch-22, a paradox of perpetual conflict. The very act of fighting for what one believes to be right inevitably clashes with someone else's equally fervent belief in their version of right. If we lay down our arms, we fear that those we oppose will triumph, reshaping the world in their image. Yet, it is this endless battle for supremacy, this insatiable need to conquer opposing views, that is quietly eroding the fabric of our culture. In our quest to be right, we are unraveling the very threads that bind us together. Change is constant. Change is inevitable. Yet it's undeniably easier to settle for contentment than to struggle for transformation. Change feels like an uphill battle, a relentless climb against forces bigger than ourselves. And in many ways, it is. But it doesn't have to be. Not when we remember who we are. Each of us is a dreamer, a freedom fighter at heart. Opposing opposition is woven into our very nature. We resist simply by existing, by daring to be our authentic selves in a world that tries to mold us into conformity. Still, we forget this truth from time to time, buried under the weight of hardships thrown our way. But that spark, that one that dreams of something better, freer, fairer, it never truly fades. It's there, waiting for us to reignite it and remind ourselves of what we are capable of. We are equipped with the most powerful attribute of all. We are many. Our strength lies in our numbers and the collective power of individuals united by a common cause. The only struggle that should demand our attention, the one that transcends generations and civilizations, is the class struggle. It's a story as old as time itself, an unbroken thread of exploitation woven through history. Those in power have always relied on one simple truth. They are few and we are many. Their so-called authority is rooted not in effort or merit, but in the ability to manipulate and exploit. Instead of creating, they extract. Instead of building, they demand. They are the epitome of laziness, leveraging the labor, ingenuity, and strength of others to sustain their dominance while contributing nothing of true value. But that system only works if we let it. If we refuse to recognize our power, if we forget that we are the foundation holding their empires aloft, it's time to remember who truly holds the reins and what we could accomplish when we finally stand together. And if you don't know where to start with their money. Stop buying their junk. Yes, it's easier said than done. Their predatory practices are insidious, snaking their way into every corner of our lives, like parasites feeding on our dependency. But if you can't fully remove your money from their grasp, then replace them. Build alternatives. Support local creators, small businesses, and community-driven initiatives. Replace their products with ones that align with your values. Their services with those rooted in equity, and their influence with the collective power of people who care. It won't be easy. We will stumble and we will fall, but falling isn't failure. It's part of the process. What matters is that we pick each other up again and again, refusing to quit. With every replacement we create, with every dollar we redirect, we loosen their grip on our lives. It's not just about resistance, it's about resilience. Together, we're not just taking a stand, we're building a new foundation, one they cannot touch. As for our politicians, we must be loud, unmistakably loud. At the local level, they do listen, or at least some of them do. Too often, we feel like their actions go against our best interests. But ask yourself this: when was the last time you voiced your opinion to them? When did you make your voice heard? We must remember they are still human, still beholden to the people who put them in power. So, pick up the phone, write them a letter, or show up at their office and speak your mind. Local politicians, more than most, want to hear from us. But remember, if your elected officials refuse to listen, there is nothing stopping you from running for office yourself. If they won't represent you, then take their seat. The power is yours. It always has been. This is a call to arms, a call to be unapologetically, undeniably yourself. If you disagree with something, let it be known. If you have something to say, speak it boldly. There's neither enough time in this world nor enough energy in your soul to waste standing on the sidelines, watching as a bystander. Every voice, every action matters. But remember, our greatest strength is that we are many. This is our superpower. Join your friends, your family, your neighbors. Stand shoulder to shoulder, because nothing will change if we remain divided. Unity is not just a strategy, it is our survival. Whatever differences we may have, they pale in comparison to the struggle that binds us. The fight against those who hoard power and wealth at the expense of us all. Oligarchs, plutocrats, magistrates, tyrants. Call them what they are. They thrive on our division, on our silence. But together, we are unstoppable. Together, we can create a world where no one is left behind and no one is above accountability. The time to unite is now.